Today I'm joining you to have another one of our chats with Making Zen artists. We've got lots of fun things happening. If you haven't already signed up, check out makingzen.com. That's all the information there. And go and check out our Facebook group as well, which is also called Making Zen, and join in the fun and the anticipation as everybody's getting seriously excited for the events upcoming. We have a whole lot of prizes to give away too, and so being in the Facebook group and sharing what you create and what you're enjoying is all part of the community and the fun. So without further ado, today we are going to be chatting with Amanda Trought, and I'm super excited to be chatting with her because she does a really lovely a wide range of works. Actually, she's a mixed media artist. So let's see if we can connect. I have a cat who's sitting on my lap and I'm getting big cuddles, so we don't want to disturb her too much. Let's see. Whilst we're waiting, why don't you tell me if you've already signed up, if you've participated. There's a VIP pass access as well, which means that you can dive into all this goodness instantly and start creating with lifetime access, which if you're a textiles enthusiast is fabulous because you've got, it works out to be 40 different workshops. So if you were to spread that out over a year, that's what, 40 weeks of creating, which is almost a whole year of creativity. So, I mean, that's seriously amazing. Not to mention a lot of the projects I'm sure you'll want to do more than once because there's different ways of doing it. And you might even learn a little bit along the way about how you might tweak it. So each time you do it, you'll do a different reiteration. Now, I just got a little message there saying that Amanda was having trouble connecting. Amanda, if you're trying on your laptop, try and see if you can connect on using your phone. For some reason, laptops and desktops don't seem to work that well, so give that a go. I'll see if I can send another invitation again. There we go. And I've seen some people who have signed up. Lexis Baker said she's signed up, and that's fabulous. And here we go.
Okay.
That's so cool. I loved seeing the window that you look out of.
I do have a lovely view of the garden. Yeah, thank you. Does bring me
And
immense pleasure and joy.
yes, and I was having a quick look at all of the amazing things that you do, and you're a very multi-talented artist, writer, and gardener. I see that you've got creative gardener down as one of your attributes.
Yes, yeah, it's always been a passion. I think it was my mother that gave me my green fingers, and she had like a lot of house plants. A lot of the tropical plants I now grow here are the things that we had as house plants. So over the years, I've just been able to grow more of the things that I've wanted to, and it's just been, yeah, a blessing, really.
Yeah. Isn't that cool when you realize that some house plants that you have as an inside plant are actually outside plants in other parts of the world? I always love that. It's kind of like, oh, you mean this isn't just designed for being inside?
Right, yeah. So many things. That's it. So many things that you just said, yeah, this is what we grow. And then to suddenly see, I think the first time it was going to Kew Gardens in London and just seeing the size of plants and how they could get in a tropical environment. And now I'm seeing, yeah, now I'm getting to see that here.
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm really curious because I know your website ends with a UK, but you're now based in Barbados. Would you like to share a little bit about your journey?
Well, I kind of split my time between the UK and Barbados, so that's a blessing. But my husband was born in Barbados, and many years ago he said, you know, he would like to come back to Barbados, and at the time my son wanted to come as well. And so because we had been coming backwards and forwards on holiday, we thought it would be a nice way for my son to be able to, you know, be educated here, because at the time it had one of the best education systems in the world.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and yeah, and so I'm blessed to, as I say, to be able to split my time wherever possible and get the best of both worlds. I
Absolutely.
think that the climate here suits me better than in London, but there's so many things in the UK that I think growing up there I took for granted, as we do, you just like, oh yeah, I can do that another time. But every time I go back and spend time, it's just like, oh my goodness, look. I mean, even something as small as in Barbados, uh, the sun sets at 6, so by 6:30 it's totally dark, and then in the UK it's a lot brighter. Even by 9:30 p.m. it's still kind of bright, and yeah. So having the best of both is just one of the things that I'm blessed to be able to do.
Yeah, that really is very fortunate. I spent some time in London myself a number of years ago now, and I loved it. And like you say, when you're there, you kind of do take a whole lot of stuff for granted. Because I went over there on a working holiday, like a lot of Australians, we get the travel bug early and we go abroad and check out all these things. And when I first arrived in London, because I was traveling on the Aussie dollar, everything was so expensive. So I didn't do a lot of sightseeing. And then I got a job and then I got like ensconced in life and I still didn't do a lot of sightseeing. So I haven't been to like Westminster Abbey or Tower of London. There's a whole lot of stuff that I'm like, oh, I'll just get to that one of these days and
Yeah.
never do.
Yeah, and so much more. And it's like, yeah, as expensive as both countries are. I mean, it's immensely expensive here, but there are some, if you're there for a while, there are things that you can do which are free. And again, you take it for granted. Like even here, going to the beach, and you don't always have to have a cocktail in your hand. But,
What?
we've got some of the best beaches. Yeah, we've got some of the best beaches here, and there are so many events and galleries and artists who open their studios, and um, there's the richness in both places. And if you get to spend time, just where do the locals go? Or what events are being put on. I mean, when I used to come here on holiday, it used to be what art events are on during that time, and I would try and make sure that I get to see the artists, their studios, and just whatever else is happening. There's usually an event happening somewhere. And very often the Ministry of Culture here put on a lot of kind of events that for artists, for anybody really, for everybody to enjoy. So that's really great.
Oh,
Yeah.
how fabulous. I mean, that's the most important part of life, isn't it? And personally, I think anyway, and being an artist is not only creating, but being involved in events so that you can be experiencing other people's art and just kind of like feeding your creative soul, seeing how other people do things and getting inspiration from that.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's about the community that you can then build
Mm.
and connect with, and that's really important. And as you say, so many have something to share and offer, that it might be a technique or a discipline that's totally different from yours, but there's always something that we can take away from what somebody's shared. And I think it's really important that we do kind of put out our networks and see how we can kind of work across networks with each other.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's quite interesting how, across the different disciplines, different ways of working and concepts and ideas will all infuse in different ways. And that's why I really like, and I'm probably guessing it's probably the same as you as well, working across different medium because you can have the same idea, but it's going to translate differently in textiles versus, excuse me, say sculpture or printmaking or paper making or whatever. And so it really does open up a whole lot of possibilities, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. And I think for most of us, where like I call myself a multidisciplinarian, because there's not just one thing. I grew up at a young age being told, well, what's the one thing you want to do, Amanda? And it's just like, I don't want to just do one thing. There's so many things that I want to do and try. And that's what I've done in terms of my artistic growth. It was, I did like, oh, I want to be, I think, a jewelry designer. I want to make my own clothes. I want to write. I did theatre, dance, singing. And in my later years, I've realized that, you experience all these things to bring them all together because you don't necessarily always feel like doing that particular thing. Or, yes, I can, like with the stitching now, I can paint on my fabric. I can write on my fabric. I can write words with my stitches, which we're going to go into. But there's so many things that we can do and tap into that kind of impact on us. And the way that the arts is for me is that it's about our healing journey as well. There's so many things within creativity and creative, our pastimes that impact on our health and well-being that we have to really take note of. And it should be something that is compulsory. Everybody should, be made to do a creative activity or find the one that resonates best with them and not just limit themselves to one, because they do cross over. And when we look around, everything that we see, everything has been designed by somebody. So it's just like, how can we avoid, saying that the arts is that? How can we not say that the arts is important? The arts is important for everybody and for every aspect of our life.
Yeah.
So that's my 2 pence.
I love it. And I think you're, what did they say, preaching to the converted or something like that. But I agree with you entirely. And through some of my creative journeys, I've had the fortune of being able to teach in schools, and which is just wonderful because I love being able to share the joy of creating. And for me, I think it was, oh my goodness, I don't even know how old I was. I was tiny, and I'd run out of green paint. And I said, Mum, I need green paint. I was trying to paint a tree, I think, on paper rather than actually painting a tree. And she's like, well, you just need blue and yellow and you mix them together and you get green. And I was blown away that these two different paints could make another color.
That's right.
And yeah, and just the magic of it. And so I love going into schools and sharing the creative journey with other kids as well. And it's really sad that these days more and more of the arts program is being kind of pushed out. It's not seen as something that is important, because I agree with you. I think everybody should have the opportunity to create and play and have fun, and for all the different reasons that you mentioned, for just the joy of making, but also the soulfulness and the connection with ourselves that we get when we create too.
Yeah, yeah. And for every age group, like as you say, from the very young to the very old, because my experience with the arts, um, when my mother had dementia, and I was able to do a lot of art with her, and then I did some work in a dementia day center, and it was just amazing to see the impact on the individuals, and how it wasn't just, okay, you're going to draw a flower or a tree or whatever it is. It's, this is an experience. And they talked about their past, they shared, kind of jobs they did as they did the art. And we had exhibitions. So even those people who didn't partake in it were able to see the work and be around the work. And I think that's important as well, because they start off by saying, oh, no, I'm not no good at art. I can't do art. That's what kids do, without realizing that actually, no, everything we do has creativity in it. And that even if you don't do it, go into a gallery, we can think about images or paintings or work that we've seen that has a really emotional reaction in us. And even that's really important, and how that impacts on our our nervous system and our general well-being. So it's like, yeah, as you say, everybody, you need to be doing some sort of creativity, whatever it is.
And what a blessing! How delightful that you were able to share that with people of your mother's community as well, because I'm sure they enjoyed the process and the connecting. And something that I've found with when I'm teaching in person is when we're sitting around and we're stitching, it gives everybody the opportunity to relax, and they'll start talking about things. It's not all focused on how to do the technique, but everyone's kind of starts talking about, I don't know, whatever. And it's just a lovely way of connecting in a different sense. I think there's something about when we're working with our fingers, our minds expand.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the time because we're told like you don't have enough time, we're running out of time. We know that as we get older, we feel time going quicker. So, but it's the time that you take, and I say to people, even 5 minutes, just sitting doing something. Even if you don't want to start something, like look through your supplies and just that kind of touching the supplies and caressing the bottles or the threads or whatever. Whatever it is, but it's the time. And for the elderly, I found for them, they really appreciated somebody taking the time with them.
Yes.
Yes. It's like, I mean, that my remit was out of every session, you have to come out with a finished piece. And that was like pressure. But it was just like, okay, well, every week we will come out with a finished piece, but it's stretched over a month so that, it's small fragments of this thing that we're going to come away with. But for me, the focus was let's spend some time, just relax, be able to kind of talk to each other. There was like just a small group, 6 people in each session. So it was just like, yeah, it really had an impact on me. And I know that it had an impact on them and the families, because then it was something I encouraged the families to do, just 5 minutes
Mm.
sitting down or 10 minutes or whatever. Like for my mum, when I said to her, oh, mum, do you want to do some art? And she was just like, oh, okay, then. And that very first time I did that, for an hour and a half, she was there at it, like really focused and enjoying herself. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I only thought I was going to get 5 minutes with her like this, but it was just like a whole hour and a half to just be able to, I just art journaled with her. I did my art journaling, she did her. She was drawing and painting. But yeah, yeah, it's so important, so key.
Oh, I just love that. And what I really like about that too is because I'm thinking about my grandmother who was also in a home. It's a wonderful way of connecting, because sometimes, you go in and, well, I would go in and I'd visit, and I'd talk and I'd be there for an hour and I'd kind of talk myself out. Whereas if we could have sat there together, like, because we obviously both wanted to be there, but there's only so much talking you can do. Whereas if I had brought in some paints or something with her that we could do together with our hands, it probably would have been a really lovely way of connecting without having to focus on the words, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 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 because
Yeah.
even that was being in the same room doing something together. And just in the same way, I know that you do like, I can't remember what you called it, but it was just like we've all got unfinished pieces, so let's just all come together and do it together. So even that,
Yes.
even virtually, we know that online we can come together and we don't have to be chatting. We could just be, I've got this piece to finish. I just need to be in the company of somebody. And that's something that's really important, because we know that we've all experienced, it's now 5 years, coming up to 5 years, that a big gigantic event that impacted us in so many ways that we can't even, we don't even realize until we like either talk about, what we're doing, how we're doing, how's our mental health and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just even being together with somebody is important. And
Yeah.
yeah, that really
Oh,
does, has a really big impact, especially when you're doing something creative now. It's just like, oh my gosh, oh, what are you doing? And all the sparks flying with, oh, I'm going to try this. And oh, what if I did this? Yeah.
exactly. I know. And that is the beauty of community, isn't it? When you can see what other people are doing and what ideas they bring. And if you're stuck or you don't know how to finish something, someone's always going to have a good suggestion for you. And sometimes it's even just as the suggestion of, do you even need to finish it? can you just let it go, you know? So it's kind of like just changes your way of looking at things, can
Yeah,
be just as insightful. Yeah. Because
yeah,
we
yeah,
can get so wrapped up in what's happening in our head that it just is helpful to be in a room with people, or even if it's a virtual room, you know, it's the same experience.
yeah, yeah. Because I used to guilt myself out of not being able to finish a piece of work in one sitting, and then it took me years before I said, well, the same thing. You know, well, do you need to finish it now? Like I said, I dare you to walk away for a week from it. And that's why I have so many different things going, because it's just like, actually, it needs to ruminate in a corner for a while, and then I need to come back. And those are the best times, where you come back and you see different things in a piece of work that you think, I'm going to do it this way. And then it flows and then you finish. But yeah, it's just like a day, and it's got to be perfect. There is no perfect. And there is no, it's got to be done today. It's like, what can you do today? And maybe you
Yeah.
do need to go for a walk in the garden and, you know, pet the dog, or, you know, speak to somebody, or but that's the flow in our creative walk. But just, and it's tuning in, what insights can you find for yourself? And what is your intuition saying, you know, actually you need to go and have a nap.
That's
You
so
know.
true. Yeah, it is. And I think that it's being kind to ourselves. I was chatting with Amy Miracle yesterday, and we're talking about productivity and how we always feel like we've got to do something. And sometimes the best thing for our creative soul is to do nothing, you know, or like you say, go for a walk or play in the garden or pat the cat or, you know, like you say, outrageously talk to someone. Even if it's
Yeah,
literally going to the shop, you know, and having a chat with the cashier, that kind of thing.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
so true.
yeah. Well, we've been talking about all things amazing, and we haven't even shared what you're going to be teaching at the Making Zen online retreat. I'm
Oh,
so
right.
excited.
Yeah, so I mean, I started out by doing a lot of art journaling, and I always like to give myself encouraging words, and I started doing that in my fabric and textile work. So what we're going to be doing is we're creating this piece which says love, and it's again like looking at how we can use even not only our handwriting, because sometimes we're like, oh no, I don't like the way I write, but it's just like when you stitch it and then you add different types of stitching, it can look really wonderful. So get out of the I don't like the way I write, and just like, you know, even if you block printed it, you know, printed it, or did scroll or look at some examples. And then so we're going to create this. Now, this is done on two different types of materials. And what I show you is how we can correct mistakes. So being done on two different types of materials, when you stitch it, it starts to pucker, and then you think, oh no, it's like all going funny, that, you know, I'm not going to be able to do it. So we're going to be doing some tiny, tiny stitches, and that kind of gets out of that, you know, it's so all the mistakes, and then it changes the texture of the fabric, and it just becomes a really nice texture. So for me as well, texture is really important.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's what we're going to do in the lesson. And then I think I show you as well just some other words that you can do. So you choose whatever words that you want, you get some fabric, you write it on, and then you just go for it. And that's a really, you know, this, I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, a million stitches. Just think, I'm going to take some time for me. I can put on an audio book, I can put on some music, I can just be lost in my thoughts and just, you know, just take my time. And that's really mainly what it's about. And then I've got the word love. So every time I look at this, I'm looking at love, 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 stitch, stitch. And it's, yeah, so that's what we're going to do for the lesson.
That's absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to play along with you.
Yeah, and then of course, like now I've come to the end, like I've done just some straight stitches, and I'll show you how you do the alternative stitches, and then I've just got some French knots in there. And then what I would do with this is either put it on another project, a larger piece of material, or just frame it. You know, it could just be something I frame, or I'm always thinking, oh, let me add some more stitches. But just now, yeah, I'm just gonna frame it probably and
Um,
move it
it,
on. Yeah.
it's beautiful. I could imagine it just brings you such joy to look at it as it is.
Yeah, well, it's important the words that we feed ourselves. So,
Mhm.
you know, as well as, you know, saying positive words, they say that for every negative word, it takes, you know, 150 positive words to counteract that. And so it's important whether we're talking to ourselves, because we can also get out of, you know, sync with that and say, oh my gosh, what's wrong with you? Or I heard my son say one when he was young, he said, oh, I'm such a clumsy klutz. And I'm thinking, who said that to you? Who told you that word? And it was a teacher who was saying to him. And it's just like, so he's going to school being um, told by teachers negative things, and then you're coming back and it's just like there's so much work. I'm going to have to tell you 150 positive words to counteract what her throwaway comment. But yeah, looking at words in fabric is just really important. So I've started to do that more when I do the kind of these kind of abstract ones, even when I do the ones with figures. So I do some with figures and I
Yeah.
put encouraging words that um, if it's for me, then I can see it. If it's meant for somebody else, so I see that all of the work that we create is going to sit well with somebody and impact their life in some way. So they will be, you know, encouraged and inspired when they see it, you know, and the message on there and the intention that I put in there when I'm stitching, they will actually receive that. So yeah, those are the kind of things, abundance. I've got loads of them because I'm always, yeah, I've got lots of pieces that need to be finished.
Mm.
But yeah, it's always about taking the time. And for me, all these pieces are, I'm not on a production line because I want to sell them to somebody. This is what I need now. I
Mm.
need to see that I do have abundance in my life, or that I am growing despite what I say might be lacking, or I am a star shining brightly. And we all are. And there's something within each of us that we have that we can share and impart to somebody else and encourage them.
Oh,
Yeah. So um, if you do the VIP, should I talk about the VIP?
I would love it. Yes,
Okay,
please.
so for the VIP session now, I show you even more words, how you can create even more words that um, using different using different fonts. So I give you examples of, you can go to your computer and look at some of the fonts, say from, you know, when you're typing, or go to Canva and, like, you know, there's, if you a free account and you can, there's all these different fonts. So we look at writing out sheets of words
Oh, wow.
and then thinking about, yeah, well, what are the fonts that we can look to encourage ourselves? So that's bubble writing or printing. So, you know, I don't even have to, you know, don't even have to think about, well, what my writing is. Or even if you don't want to write it, you can cut it out from fabric and stitch it on. And then just experiment. So I just show you loads of different ways in which we can use letters, use words. So that's like adding shadows
Mm.
around words, or kind of doing fancy
Mm.
letters and accompanying them with kind of imagery. And these are one of my favorites, so that you can, you know, you take a font and then you can add whatever you want inside there. You can add any patterning or stitching. You don't have to be know 100 stitches. You can just know the simple ones, and by repeating the stitches in different ways, you can create different effects. And obviously some of the sashiko stitching is just amazing. And we also begin this particular, what are we doing? I'm still working on this. So I show you how to do this.
Wow.
So again, we take a letter. In the class, I've done this since the class, but in the class we do a letter, some leaves and some swirls, and I show you how to, yeah, just put it together basically. And then that's for you to take away and continue stitching. And that's just what I've done. I will be sharing with them in the session. But yeah, and it's been this sewing and stitching has been something that in the last 5 years has just helped me make sense of things. And what I needed is that slowing down. I needed to be still. And that's what this does for me, because years ago I would say, I haven't got time to embroider. Who's got time to do all those stitches? And there here I am. It's like, and it's funny. I did this. Oh my gosh! I was just sitting here as I was waiting. I did this. I do a lot of figures as well. So this is a wax resist piece, and I was just looking at here. So this is where the wax is, and something said to me, "You need to do some small, tiny stitches all around here." And I was thinking, what? And I looked at it again. I was thinking, yeah, you need to do some small, tiny stitches all around. And I was saying, but look, that's the wax resist. I don't need the stitches. And it was just like, yeah, you do. And maybe it's that, again, I need, that time just focused on that piece, because maybe that piece is ready to go out into the world, or maybe, yeah, I think, and the pieces talk to us, well, I'm inspired by my pieces, and I think, sometimes I'll look at a piece and I think, no, I don't want to do it now. And it's okay to walk away and, and then pick it up whenever. But it's important that we do something and we allow our creativity to flow, and we don't stop it, and we don't use time as a reason for us not doing something, because the time's going to go anyway. There's a guy that did a podcast, and he said, how many summers do you have left? How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something
Mm.
because of what? You know, on that last day, what are you going to be saying to yourself? Oh, I don't know, I wish I watched another film on Netflix, or, I wish I spent time with those people that I love, or I wish I spent time doing something that brings me joy, and all these things. Or I wish I spent time creating that piece, because I know that, and I believe this, that there is a piece of work that I've created for everybody, that it's meant for somebody. So when I do it, I'm praying, I'm, blessing it, I'm putting my all into it, I'm encouraged, and I'm being inspired by other artists. And even on Making Zen, it was just like, I started watching the videos 2 years ago. I came across it, and it was just like, oh my goodness, there are all these other people who love stitching and sewing, and it's just like amazing. And there was just so much to learn, that I got the VIP package, and I was so glad I did, because you need to be able to just take your time. 5 days is like a feast. You get to the feast and you stuff yourself, but oh, let me just clear some room. And the VIP package for me, like, enabled me to clear the room, just focus on and really learn, because there's so many techniques that are being taught that you can take away and will inspire your own work. And even if you've never stitched before, there's something for everybody. And that was just the thing that I just thought, no, this is amazing. I have to. So, yeah, 2 years later, I'm so, blessed to be able to be one of the teachers. I'm so thankful, and to be
Oh,
able to share, because I'm not coming from, we learned it at school, but yeah, I'm self-taught, and I'm passionate about what I do. So I'll learn as much as I can and put in what I'm learning. So yeah, even though I hope that, whoever's watching and those people who do see this, do kind of treat themselves to the VIP package while you can before it goes up, and, really dive in and don't feel overwhelmed. Look at the classes that resonate first with you, take your time through those, and then go on to the rest, because you will not be disappointed with any of the sessions.
Uh, that's such wise words, and I'm so thrilled to hear that you enjoy the process and everything that Making Zen embodies it. And I love your description of it being a feast where you're just kind of like, I liken it to being a kid in a candy store. There's just so
Yeah,
much goodness, at your
yeah.
fingertips that it is almost overwhelming because you want to do everything and you want to do it straight away. So getting the VIP pass just means that you can take a deep breath, enjoy it at your leisure, and dip in and dip out. And, I really think, like you say, there's so much in there that you can learn that it really is a great kind of like self taught process that you can take yourself on this big creative journey.
Yeah, it's like going on a cruise. So if you go on a cruise and you go to each island, and then if you want to go back and spend more time, you can do that. And so this is like, yeah, we're seeing all the work, and then if you want to go deeper, you can, because all of the teachers are doing that in their own practice. And I'm going to be offering more stitch projects on my course platform, because it's just like something that is really important to me. So you get a taster and you dive in, and then, you can take it wherever you want.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Well, Amanda, it's been so lovely chatting with you today. It's so lovely to connect and have you as part of the Making Zen online retreat. Absolutely love your workshop. We're getting lots of comments coming in for everybody else who loves it too, and they can't wait to get started. So thank you so much for joining me today and sharing a little bit about what you do and your just beautiful person and sharing your love with the world.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I look forward to seeing as many of you in the classroom.
Me too. Absolutely. Much
All
love.
right. Bye.
Bye
Take
bye.